Okay, picture this. It's 7:45 a.m. The school bus is coming in exactly 10 minutes. You've asked your child to put their shoes on 3 different times, but you walk in and there they are, just staring blankly out the window or completely engrossed in a toy, absolutely zero awareness that the morning is literally slipping away. Look, if this daily struggle sounds familiar, take a deep breath because you are absolutely not alone. Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to unpack a really brilliant toolkit designed to help you get your easily distracted kid out the door on time. And the best part, we're aiming to do this without the screaming and the tears.
Honestly, it's enough to make any caregiver want to pull their hair out, right? You just find yourself asking over and over, why do some kids completely lose track of time? And it's so incredibly easy to interpret this behavior as defiance or maybe laziness or just them flat out ignoring your rules. But if we really want to solve this morning chaos, we need to step back, validate that frustration you're feeling, and pivot toward the actual underlying psychological reason. Because here's the game changer. It's actually not a behavioral problem. It's a perception problem.
So let's dive into exactly what that means. The source material we're looking at today targets something called time blindness. This is a massive foundational concept. Time blindness is basically when it's genuinely hard to know how much time has passed or how much time is left. To a kid with time blindness, 5 minutes and 50 minutes can honestly feel exactly the same. This right here should be a huge aha moment for us. They aren't trying to make you late on purpose. They literally process time differently than you do. And it helps to ground this clinical definition in everyday reality. Think about these super relatable scenarios. Maybe they're playing video games for hours and they're completely shocked when you told them it's dinner time. Or maybe they're daydreaming in class, or just reading a book and totally forgetting the entire world around them. When a child gets hyper-focused, their internal clock just stops ticking. Recognizing these specific triggers is our very first step in helping them. So, to overcome this, our explainer today follows a structured roadmap. First up, understanding time blindness. Second, learning to read time. Third, the power of estimation. And finally, planning and daily routines. Let's start right off with part 1, understanding time blindness and validating the struggle. The key here is gently assessing your child's current relationship with time, but without making them feel broken. It's really beautiful how the workbook handles this. First, we identify their time strengths. Like, what are they already naturally good at? Maybe they're fantastic at finishing a project once they start it, or they can focus incredibly deeply on fun activities. Then, we balance those out with their time challenges, things like forgetting homework or losing track of time while gaming. We're building self-awareness here. By framing this whole thing as a balance of strengths and challenges, we completely remove the shame from the equation. And to really keep that shame away, we bring in a little gamification. Enter the time coach. This is a friendly, fun, cartoon clock character whose whole job is to guide them. This shifts the dynamic in such a brilliant way. You are no longer the nagging parent. Instead, you are partnering with your child and their time coach to gain a brand new superpower. It makes the entire learning process positive and super engaging rather than just feeling like a clinical correction. Moving right along to part 2, learning to read time. Before we can manage a schedule, we've got to master the core mechanics. Now, the crucial point here is that we really must teach time dynamically. Kids today are totally surrounded by digital clocks, right? But digital clocks are basically just abstract numbers. Analog clocks, on the other hand, with physical hands moving across a physical space, visually show time passing. Our source bridges this perfectly. Kids practice reading the physical hands of an analog clock and then immediately translate that over to the precise numbers of a digital clock. They start to learn that 3:30 isn't just a random number. It's a specific visual slice of the pie on that clock face. Plus, time really needs context to mean anything at all to a time-blind child. We have to anchor these abstract concepts of AM and PM to physical, real-world events. Eating lunch, going to soccer practice, watching the sunset. By explicitly linking morning and evening to their personal routines, the clock starts to actually represent the rhythm of their lived day rather than just arbitrary numbers flashing on a screen. And that brings us to section 3, the power of estimation. This is where we bridge the gap. This is where the magic really happens, bridging the gap between just knowing what time it is and actually feeling time pass. We fix that perception gap with an estimation game. Here's how it works. Ask your child to guess how long a task takes, say finishing 10 math problems. Have them write down their guess. Then they actually do the activity and you measure the real actual time. Finally, they compare the two. Was it shorter or longer than they thought? Over time, these little interactive trials literally calibrate their internal clock. They stop just randomly guessing and they start truly perceiving duration. We can supercharge this estimation practice by injecting some high energy into it. Setting up a race against the timer turns super mundane chores into an exciting sprint. Like, can you do 15 jumping jacks in 3 minutes? Can you read one full page of your book before this timer goes off? Setting a timer creates a tangible, auditory, and visual finish line. It teaches them a sense of urgency in a way that feels like a fun game you're playing together, rather than a boring chore you're just enforcing. Once they really start to feel how long tasks actually take, they get to become a time detective. This is a cool exercise that asks kids to intuitively group their daily activities into distinct blocks: 5, 15, 30, or 60 minutes. Think about it. Does brushing your teeth take 5 minutes or an hour? Does playing a board game take 15 minutes or 60? By categorizing these activities, kids build this intuitive mental filing system for their day, which is absolutely vital for our next step. Which takes us to part 4, planning and daily routines. Time to achieve victory over our schedules. Let's see how all of this translates into real-world organization. First up, we use a priority sort, where kids actually physically cut out activities and sort them into buckets: now, later, or tomorrow. This tactile, hands-on sorting really prevents that feeling of overwhelm. Once they know exactly what must happen now, that feeds seamlessly into a visual homework planner. They aren't just staring at a massive, scary list of to-dos. They're charting out the subject, the time needed, and breaking their whole evening into manageable, bite-sized missions. But okay, listen up, because here is the absolute ultimate secret weapon for parents: the tomorrow starts tonight sequence. If you want a peaceful morning, you literally have to build it the night before. This sequence walks the child through school prep, picking out their outfit, packing their bag, and getting ready for bed, all capped off with a little positive mindset reflection. What you're doing is outsourcing the morning stress to the evening, a time when there is no ticking clock rushing them out the door. It's brilliant. And because we prepared the night before, the morning becomes this incredibly simple, step-by-step visual checklist. Wake up, make the bed, brush teeth, get dressed, grab the pre-packed bag. Boom. By giving them this morning routine checklist, you are empowering your child to take total ownership of getting ready. You honestly don't have to be the drill sergeant anymore. The checklist becomes the boss. Finally, we get to celebrate the payoff. When they consistently use these tools, when they're reading the clock, estimating their time, and planning their evening, they officially graduate from time blindness. They earn the Time Master Badge. Recognizing this achievement strongly reinforces that all their hard work is actually paying off. They aren't just surviving their crazy schedule anymore, they are mastering it. If there is just one single thing you take away from this explainer today, please let it be this: time management is a learned skill, not an innate talent. Your child isn't broken for struggling with this, and you absolutely aren't failing as a caregiver. Just like learning to read or riding a bike, perceiving time takes specific tools, lots of patience, and practice. But with a visual, gamified, structured approach, pretty much any child can learn to master their schedule. So it's time to put all this into action. Think about your family's biggest daily bottleneck for a second. I want to leave you with this question. What's one routine you can start gamifying tonight to completely change your reality tomorrow morning? Just pick one. Try it out, grab a timer, and watch your child become a true time master. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.